It's now impossible to pretend not to see him. A part of the Church, and certainly not the best, holds Leo XIV in a silent grip. And a few days ago, a cardinal made this clear with a strong statement made in front of everyone, as if to make things clear. Since then, the air in the Vatican has seemed more tense, more charged, more dangerous. But how long can it hold out? And what will happen when the pressure becomes unbearable? Watch until the end. There was no need to wait long. Within hours of the white smoke, the official declaration machine had already started. In just a few days, the most media-friendly cardinals, Cupich, Fernandez, Nichols, have managed to occupy the stage with words that left little doubt about the direction of Leo XIV. Continuity with Francis has become the key phrase, repeated with an insistence worthy of an election campaign. Cupich, from America, praised Leon as a tireless worker, with a vision very similar to that of Francis, emphasizing his ability to listen, his knowledge of 3 continents, and his commitment to continuing the synodal journey, including lay people and women in governance. From Rome, Fernandez went even further. Without waiting for any papal confirmation, he declared that the controversial Fiducia Supplicans will not end up in a draw, assuring that the pontiff will neither repeal nor modify it, a sign, according to him, of full adherence to his predecessor's openness. And then, more recently, came Nichols with a speech that made more noise than the others. Speaking at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, before a select audience that even included the Princess Royal, the Cardinal clearly outlined what, in his opinion, is Leo's mission: to carry forward the reforms of the Curia conceived by Francis, as had already been established at the time of his election. In his speech, he recalled how the critical issues of the Curia had been discussed during the general congregations of the conclave, and how Leo had emerged as the ideal candidate, thanks to his internal experience and his missionary spirit. Nichols said that no other papabile embodied the necessary qualities so well: knowledge of the Vatican machine, intellectual capacity, pastoral sensitivity. But the most significant passage came when he explained that the speed of the election, just 4 ballots in 2 days, demonstrated the Cardinal's desire to quickly resolve any uncertainty about the path to follow. There was no interest in changing direction, and he added that one of Leo's priority objectives is to reform the Curia in a synodal and universal way, increasing the presence of lay people and women in positions of leadership. Nichols skillfully intertwined doctrine and politics, but left one certainty: Leo is seen, by those who elected him, as the guarantor of continuity, not as an autonomous innovator. Yet, behind Nichols's ostentatious confidence, the doubt remains as to whether these words truly describe the will of the Pope, or rather, that of a powerful faction, which almost seems to want to publicly remind Leo who chose him and what mandate was entrusted to him. If the strength of a faction is also measured by its ability to tell reality to its own advantage, the progressive faction within the Church has no rivals. As soon as Leo XIV set foot in the loggia of St. Peter's, the media apparatus went to work to portray him as the natural heir of Francis, as if it were the only possible interpretation. It wasn't just the most prominent cardinals who spoke out. Catholic newspapers, magazines, and portals, almost all aligned with the openness camp, took their statements and amplified them, transforming them into a unanimous chorus. The newspapers closest to Rome portrayed Leona's every gesture as a confirmation of his progressive stance. The choice of women and lay people in key roles, the continuity of synodality, the caution toward traditionalists, the silence on fiducia supplicans. Even his extension of his 2-day vacation at Castel Gandolfo was interpreted as a demonstration of humanity and pastoral sensitivity, as if simply breathing were already a political act in the right direction. The narrative machine is so well-oiled that it leaves no room for alternative interpretations. Catholic newspaper headlines describe a pope who listens and accompanying, a man of balance, a guarantor of the synodal journey. But what is most striking is the naturalness with which these descriptions seem to completely ignore the real tensions, as if the Church were not divided, as if no resistance existed. Yet anyone familiar with Vatican dynamics knows well that this public image is the result of a concerted effort. The media, reporting a pope already aligned with a progressive faction, isn't just reporting, it's applying pressure. Every article, every editorial, every television commentary is a way to reiterate, even to the Pope himself, the expectations of those who chose him and those who support him. It's not just narration, it's conditioning, a curtain of words that envelops him, so thick that it prevents us from seeing if and when Leo will want to distance himself from what has been written about him. Looking honestly, it is impossible to ignore that Leo XIV, if he truly intends to bring the Church back to tradition, will have to face a very strong resistance. Not only that of the media and the cardinals who already speak for him, but above all, that of an internal structure so deeply rooted as to seem immovable. Until now, his strategy has been calm, silence, and small, measured gestures. But this caution comes at a price. With each passing day, the pressure increases, and the risk that sooner or later tensions will explode becomes more evident. Because the reality is simple, however uncomfortable it may be to admit, the part most faithful to tradition asks for nothing strange, nothing new, nothing reactionary. It asks only that the Church be what it has always been, that it preserve what it has received. But this request, for many in the current Vatican structure, is perceived as a threat. And here lies the tragedy. If Leo were to make too many compromises in the coming months, risking selling off what remains of tradition to maintain a fragile political unity, then the danger of a schism will become real. It's a risk already in the air, and it can't be hidden behind the wiles of diplomacy or the rhetoric of synodality. The open wounds in the Church cannot be healed by pretending they aren't there. The real question is this: can Leo continue to mediate and procrastinate indefinitely? Or will he, sooner or later, have to choose whether to remain faithful to tradition and face the fracture, or to bow definitively to a faction that has now treated tradition itself as an obstacle? This is the question looming over Rome, and no political strategy, however astute, can avoid it forever. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.